Isn't that fair? Yeah. Right, thank you. The guy's sitting there and he's got his hand down on here and he's when, you know, that's when you know you're old. Yeah. I mean, I'd have done that. But anyhow, what's the kid doing? No, he's watching his phone. You can't be without the phone. Yes, you can. Honest to God, I am living proof that you can be without a phone. Okay? But there's the technology. So what happens to landlines? You know, one of the things that I heard not too long ago, some of the projections about the last election did not turn out as well as they thought. One of the reasons is a lot of the polling is done on landlines. Well, our son and his family, they don't have a landline. Everybody has a cell phone. They all have cell phones. Okay? The technology is different. What happens to, you know, you remember when you used to go in to buy hi-fi equipment? Try finding it. Try finding a regular radio. Wow, that's just amazing. I mean, that's just, you know, I used to be, you know, considering how my wonder at this, when I'm still flabbergasted at the Hershey Kiss. When you pull that thing up and the Kiss opens up, and they got these things. You know, if my family, they wouldn't give me this just to use it because they know I'd probably drop it or turn something on or mess it up.
Might use by mistake.
We got a new, what do you call it, cable service. Comcast. Okay. So, you know, you remember in the old days you turned on the television. Well, now you can't do that. You got to do this, you got to do that. And so I'm downstairs and I yell up, "Hey! What?" she says. "I can't get anything on the TV." And she has that, "Were you pressing buttons?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "You know, going like this, like this, it's not going to get it for you." So what we had to do, honest to goodness, we called up my son-in-law, David McKinley, comes over from his house to try to get her television on. Okay. Now, see, most men would be embarrassed at that. But what embarrassed me is he's coming down the steps. He's right behind him is Davy, who's about 3.5 years old. And he's got his little toy toolbox. And he said, "Pep, we're here to fix your problem." You know how some guys are allowed to, I'm not even allowed to look at a remote. Okay. Use of new materials like plastic. Think of all the things. Oh, those are really nice. Yes, they are nice. But you have to understand that that has an impact. Glassware. We bought dishes. And we bought Fiestaware today. We bought a whole bunch of them. It was a great deal. Okay? But it's the only one in that entire department store that's made in the United States. And half of those dishes are made out of some composite material, God knows what it is, that has an impact. So let's not be surprised that the kinds of materials that we used to make, we don't make anymore. Who's going to make a thing from corrugated metal for a trash can? They'll rust, so we'll make it out of plastic. Okay? We don't have to make lunch boxes anymore out of that kind of stuff. We do different kinds of things. So there's some pretty mundane things. The way we package food, and that has an impact. So take a look at things like glassware. How many glass companies are left in the United States? Most of our glass have been gone from this area for 75 years. Pottery. We have one left in Newell. And interestingly enough, it's now back in 2009, Homer Laughlin, which is now, by the way, there are more people who work at Homer Laughlin China. You ready for this? Than work at what the former Weirton Steel. Okay? But they've increased their rank from 90 to 59. It's one of the biggest movements in, and I think part of that comes from the fact that people, they're looking to buy an American product. And where the hell do you find them? My favorite are the ones that, I bought a new pair of jeans at, what was that place called? Gander Mountain. American material assembled in Mexico. I have another top coat at home that is Italian wool assembled in Bulgaria. It's a nice jacket. The one sleeve only fits like what do the Bulgarians know about tailor? Things change. Take a look at, our share of world. Everybody has a steel mill.
I bought a can of, I think it was sardines or salmon recently, and it said fresh caught Alaska, I think it was salmon, packaged in Thailand. So they catch it in Alaska, send it to Thailand, and then they send it back to California to be distributed.
Because it's labor. Yeah. In fact, I think you would be surprised if you read labels, the amount of seafood in the United States that comes out of Thailand and China. And one other products that you're going to see come out of China are apples. Apple orchards in China. Okay, but that's. Let me give you an example. If you go into houses built in the 1950s in Weirton, and you go down in the basement, you'll see big I-beams. Okay, and that I-beam might say WSX, Weirton Steel Company. Or, it's called structural steel. Wheeling steel made. Go into some of the modern houses, they don't use this structural steel anymore. They use engineered lumber. You could pick up a floor joist in one hand. It might be 12 feet long. But interestingly enough, it's strong. It's as strong as a solid piece. I remember when first time I saw that engineered lumber, I said, how can that work? But it is. It works very well. Okay. The negative impact of foreign competition, and I use the example of Stifel and Sons first. 20-some years ago, I did a little pamphlet for the Stifel Fine Arts Center, and one of the things in that was the competition that Stifel started to feel in the 1930s. And the local newspaper, and the quote goes something to this effect, how can Stifel expect to survive with the kind of competition that they're getting? That's 1937. 20 years later, the J.L. Stifel Company, which at that point it was 122 years old, goes out of business. Okay? Try to find a pair of shoes that are made in the United States that you can afford. Okay? Not some shoe that's a couple $100. By the way, Fiesta wear made in the United States, right? Okay. You ever see the cutlery that, okay, matches the cookware? As I looked at it today, you know where it's made? China.